Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to
Pleasure.
talk to us about this. So can you tell me a bit about what's packed into this MX-5?
Yes. So as you can see, it's a real exercise in packaging. There's not much room in an MX-5. Very important part of the considerations when we're starting to think about how to redesign a powertrain for a car is to really think about its original character. Important part of the MX-5 is that it had, with the balance front to back, was very precise. So we wanted to maintain that exactly. And we wanted to not increase the weight, to maintain the weight, but still give it a good range and give it plenty of power. So what you have in here is a 42 kilowatt hour battery pack, of which 2/3 are in the front and 1/3 at the back, where the fuel tank was. There is room to put more batteries in, but we didn't because we wanted to maintain the weight balance of the vehicle. Because there really isn't much room in an MX-5, what you'll see is the battery takes up the whole of the engine bay. You then have the motor, which is attached to the back of the battery box on some anti-vibration mounts. And then we have one of our proprietary fixed reduction gears, which then drives the prop shaft and then the original diff and so on. Because we've moved the motor and reduction box firmly into the tunnel, this has reduced the length of the original prop shaft a little bit, so it's a new prop shaft. And also, as you know, there's a torque stiffener that runs between the gearbox and the differential on the original MX-5. So part of the kit is a replacement torque stiffener. It's a bit shorter and it attaches to our gearbox. So if you look in the front here, what you'll see is that, because we take a lot of effort to mount the battery box securely, it then becomes a really good way of mounting all of the other bits of technology that go in there. So on the right-hand side here is the inverter. That's what creates the AC power that runs the motor. Yep. On the front of the box here, you have the charger, and on the front of that, you have the VCU. So the vehicle control unit. So that's where all of our proprietary software sits that runs the whole car. Tells the inverter what to do, which tells the motor what to do, takes all the signals from the driver, what the driver's wanting to do, gives all the information back, make sure that the batteries are all happy, make sure everything's running properly. Also on the mounted on the battery box, you can see you've got the supplemental 12 volt fuse box for all of the additional circuits we've got in because of the EV stuff. You've got an electric power steering pump. You have the header tank for the cooling system. The part of the sort of bespoke design of this is that the customer wanted to have an aircon. So there's quite a fat aircon compressor also nestled in there. Our kits all come with a series of standard HV additional outputs, so that the air compressor runs on HV. It can also provide HV to the heating system, and then there's a third for other peripherals. So that those various sort of pumps and motors or heating elements work more efficiently because they're at higher voltage. And you can see the whole thing sits underneath the stiffener for between the front suspension turrets.
It's so nice there, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's all designed specifically. So the reason why, a number of things that distinguish the Electrogenic kits. One is it runs our software, and it's not just the software in the VCU, but we have other hardware and software that we design within the car that runs the dashboard, for example, takes all the CAN signals for the input devices and really makes the driving experience for the driver really nice. The kits are complete, so that our installers around the world have everything they need, and they go in because of that, they go in very quickly and very neatly. And the main thing about them really is it's not generic. So EV electronics and software and all of that stuff, that's a very tried and tested, mature technology we've developed over many years. It's in many, 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 many vehicles, and that's common to all the vehicles. But the specific packaging is specific to this model, and that's why we're able to get such a good range, we're able to get such good performance, we're able to really reflect the original intentions of the car. It's because it's designed specifically for this Mark 1 MX-5.
Excellent. And looking at it as well, the thing that got me the most is that it's so original, like the bodywork and everything. The only giveaway is the exhaust at the back. There's no exhaust.
There's no exhaust.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
the
you
only
wouldn't
giveaway.
tell.
But everything else, it just looks so, MX-5, and you would never know if it was parked in a car park. You would never know.
Yeah, that's right.
And the driving modes, obviously, it's got variable driving modes on it, and a speed limit as well, which I believe
Yes,
was
it
that a
does.
request by the customer.
The
is that
speed
right?
limiter was a request by the customer. So he has he uses a lot to drive in London. Lots of 20 mile an hour restrictions there. So he has 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour in Infinity. And then we can put together all sorts of different profiles because we control all of the software. We can control what the car does. We have an infinity of sort of opportunities available to us. And when we do off-road vehicles, for example, or stuff for the army, we use a lot of multiple modes for all sorts of different circumstances, and towing and off-road and downhill braking and all sorts of things. For a car like this, it's better to keep it simple. So there's just simply 3 modes. We have Eco, which is, in terms of power response, it's very much like the original car. We have a city or normal driving mode, which is a lot of a bit more regen, so that you can do one pedal driving in town. Some people have commented that it actually, as the response, it's very much like the original engine. And then we have a sports mode, which is everything, and that you need to make sure it's a nice dry road and that you're paying attention.
Yeah, I can imagine, because you've got it's 120 kilowatt motor in this, isn't it? And that equates or translates to 160 horsepower or something
That's
like that.
right. It's about 20% more than the original.
And that's not to 60 in like sub-6 seconds, isn't it? Like that's your 6
it's
seconds.
It's a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was never a quick car. It was always a car that's just fantastic to drive.
Yeah.
But now it's a bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to testing it. So, Steve, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And looking forward to driving it. Thank you.
Cheers.